Hi, I'm Jessie Coleman with KW New Orleans and Urban Vision Properties, and today we're going to talk about a 3-unit rental complex in Uptown New Orleans. My client was working with a previous property manager who actually referred the client to me. She was getting out of the property management business, was just having a hard time keeping the units occupied and the tenants happy. It is a furnished midterm rental, which means fully furnished, all utilities included, stays of anything more than 30 days. She was having trouble finding tenants to occupy the unit consistently over the long term and keep those tenants happy. So she ultimately recommended me, and since I was brought on, I've been able to keep the units consistently occupied for tenants who have stayed with us from 1 month to 3 months to 9 months. I work with a lot of agents who don't do property management just because they don't have the time, their broker won't allow it, and so I partner with these agents to be a person that they feel comfortable recommending that's going to provide a high level of service to their clients, but that will also know that when their clients are ready to sell, I'll return them back to them and give them the opportunity to work with them to sell their property. I was able to find tenants for these properties because I have been working with furnished midterm rentals for almost 4 years now, and it is a niche in the real estate market that not a lot of people are, and not a lot of agents are familiar with. What I've found in my experience is that the more furnished rentals that you manage, the easier it is to get them rented. So I list these rentals on Furnish Finder, Airbnb, and the MLS, and I market across all of those platforms and social media. So that's Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and actively prospect for rental leads. On Furnish Finder, there's a lot of outreach that you have to do to those tenant leads. Sometimes they'll come to you, but the main concern I hear from owners struggling to lease their furnished property is that these leads reach out to them and they never hear anything back. And so my question is, are you emailing them at the email they provide? Are you calling them? And this is something that I do that I've found a lot of other agents aren't aware of and just simply don't have the time for. So I was able to find these tenants through the MLS, through Furnish Finder, and through Airbnb, and keep them consistently occupied. He doesn't have to worry about if his rental is going to be rented or not, because he knows that I will do everything in my power to get a tenant in there at the best price possible. He also knows that if there's high demand for a property and we're priced right on the nose, that we're getting so many leads, he knows that I'm also going to negotiate, and when that property is up for renewal, which could only be a month away from now, I'm going to adjust that rental rate so that he is getting the highest rental rate possible and the best terms for that unit. He also doesn't have to worry about maintenance, repairs, stocking, cleaning. All of that I take care of. I have trusted contractors that I work with, HVAC technicians that I work with, cleaners that I trust. And so between every turnover, because it can happen monthly, I take care of all of these things, and I take care of all the tenant communication, so he doesn't have to worry about really anything. When it comes to the tenants and what life looks like for them, it's flexibility, which is really what we offer here with these furnished midterm rentals. Tenants can come in, all they have to do is bring a suitcase with their clothes, and that's it. We provide the linens, the towels, the kitchen supplies, pots, pans, vacuum. All of these units at this particular property uptown have washer dryers, and they have balconies, and they are located above a pizza place and an ice cream parlor, and just a block and a half, 2 blocks maybe from St. Charles. So these tenants, they come in, they have no moving to do, and they have one monthly payment that is predictable. They don't have to worry about transferring utilities. They don't have to worry about the utility rate fluctuating each month, and so their electric bill might be more than they thought it was going to be. So now they have this one monthly payment that they can expect every single month. Additionally, they can start at only 1 month if they don't know what their plans are, and if they're going to be in the city longer, if they're even going to like this neighborhood. We only need a 1 month commitment. If they want to extend, We love having our tenants stay with us, and we've had people extend 3 months, 6 months. At a couple other furnished properties, I've even had tenants with us for 2 years. We want them to be happy, and we don't want to hold them into a lease that they don't want to be in. So we also always offer the ability that if plans change, we're going to do everything we can to re-rent the space. And if the space is re-rented, we release our tenants from their obligation. And for one of these properties, we actually had a tenant with us for 9 months, and he spent part-time in Colorado. So this was a really great setup for him because he was only in town part-time. And another tenant in the same building, they lived about an hour and a half away, but came to the city really often. So they kind of used this property as their home base when they were visiting New Orleans, and then they would go back to their hometown about an hour and a half away. So we see all different types of tenant types that come and stay in these furnished properties. We've had travel nurses, we've had digital nomads, we have had students here on internship, and just traveling professionals or even locals who just don't want to worry about furnishing a property, going through all the hassle of moving, and of course, having to deal with the unpredictable nature of utility costs in New Orleans. When I came on board with a couple tweaks, we were able to get $1,400 for the first month, and then $1,500 for every month after that. It has remained consistently occupied with 2 to 3 days in between tenants max. And recently we were able to increase the rate, so we're getting $1,600 a month for a studio apartment uptown. And the lease that we are about to sign will bring the owner $1,800 a month for that studio because he's including off-street parking. The one bedroom, we have been getting $1,750 a month, and we are leasing it now for $1,800. And then the 2-bedroom that was not listed when I was brought on board, I helped prepare for market, assisted with adding some decor to brighten up the space, make it a little bit more cozy and comfortable, as that's something that I do offer is assistance with furnishing these properties because I know what travelers are looking for. Like, it's very important to have desks in there and fast Wi-Fi. So the 2-bedroom, we started at $1,950. We were able to get $2,100 after our initial tenant who was with us for about 8 months. So we at first got $1,950, and then we got $2,100, and that did not include additional parking that we offered them. So he got a bit more than $2,100, and now we have it rented, or we have it listed for $2,100, and we have had some good interest. I think the furnished midterm rental niche is something that is really untapped. Here in New Orleans, there aren't a lot of agents or people in New Orleans that are doing it to the level that I am, because I'm working with the tenants, with the owners, with the properties every day. I'm seeing what the feedback is from renters and what they want, what kind of amenities they want. It's pretty easy for me to tell when I go to a property if it's going to perform well as a midterm rental, because I look at location, I look at amenities, I look at price too. I think a lot of owners are coming out of the short-term rental space and they're thinking, oh, I can't legally short-term rent my house anymore. It's fully furnished. I'm just going to try to get this rate. But what I do with my clients is I work with them to set realistic expectations, because 1 month vacant, you lose a lot more money than just knocking $50, even $100 off the monthly rate.